Let's hear from Brother Randy.
My background, the last 21 years, I was in the newspaper industry in charge of major events, setting up booths. This took place, like I mentioned, in Northern California. So I have a lot of experience on working with people from a booth perspective, a lot of cold marketing here where strangers don't know me. Over a couple decades, I figured I'd probably sign about 60,000 contracts, which is quite a bit industry. We're talking about digital and print subscriptions here. But what happened 10 years, as everybody knows, because of the internet, it became very tough over a period of time. And I knew sooner or later I'm going to have to find a new industry to park myself in. And when COVID hit in early 2020, I saw the writing on the wall that the event business is going to be just pretty much shut down. And sure enough, my contract was terminated sometime in February 2020. And that was a pretty big blow for me, being in the industry so long, developing contacts, a lot of experience in working these events just disappeared pretty much overnight. I've also been dealing with a lot of health issues on top of that. So I'll segue into that. 2016, Valentine's Day, I was visiting my mother in Santa Clara. And after dinner, watched a little bit of TV, went to bed, and I just thought about, well, should I get up and use the restroom? I hemmed and hawed for a few seconds, decided to use the restroom, and I saw blood. It freaked me out, very scary. I left the bathroom, told my mother, Mom, I got a serious issue. I have to go to the hospital right now. I didn't even want to call 911. I just felt like I didn't have time. I had a serious emergency, hopped in my car, drove full speed to Santa Clara Medical Center, talked to the receptionist, told her what was happening. Within a minute, they had me in a wheelchair. I had doctors waiting for me in the room. They noticed some bruising on my arms. They said, we got to work fast here. Within 10 minutes, they came back in the room, thought I had lupus, but they ruled it out and said, we got to work fast. They did another test, came back into my room. About 15 minutes later, never forget this, as long as I live, the doctor was in front of my bed, raised his hands and said, Randy, you don't have cancer, but you have a very rare blood disease called ITP. And I had been in really great shape for a long time. I worked out all the time, ate well, took care of my body as best as I could. And it came as a shock. And he said, we got to really work fast on this here. And they said, your platelet count is extremely low. Your platelets clot your blood. Your platelet count should be anywhere from a range of 125,000 to 300,000 units of measurement. My platelet count was 4,000. The doctor told me he's never seen a patient, as long as he's been a doctor, have a platelet count that low and still alive. Most people have a platelet count lower than 10,000, have a major stroke, bleed out, or die. And you're on the table here with a count of 4,000 and you're still breathing, which is a miracle. So I'm sitting in the room. The nurses are around me. They got all these IVs plugged into my arms. And it was a shock. An hour and a half earlier, I was watching TV with my mother, celebrating Valentine's, night. So I waited, and just not sure what's going to happen next. So I ended up being in the hospital for 4 days. The platelet count jumped to 7,000 the next day, but I was still not out of the woods. It was the fourth day, it finally jumped to 75,000 units, and they were able to release me from the hospital. During that time, I had many doctors coming in there because I was a very rare case that I was alive and coming out of the woods. So they released me. And they put me on powerful drugs, like prednisone type drugs. They started me off at 80 milligrams, which is a huge dose. And they warned me that you're not going to like it, but it's the only thing that may save your life. So they put me on the drugs for about 2 months, and they weaned me off the drugs, lowered the dosage about every 2 weeks. And they said after the 2-month period of time, monitor your blood every week. And if your platelets hold stable, steady, after 2 months, that's what we're hoping for, and you'll be out of the woods. If not, if we take you off the drugs and your platelet count does not rise to a normal level, there's only one other drug that we can give you, and you have to take it the rest of your life, and you're not going to like it. So thank God the prednisone worked, but I have to take these drugs, well, not just take the drugs, but I have to monitor my platelet count about 3 times a year. So it's been over 6 years now since that episode. But during the course of the last 6 years, I developed some other issues. 3 years ago, dealing with ITP and having to monitor my platelets and also looking at my body every day. It's one thing the doctors told me, that this rare disease could sneak up on you without you really knowing it. There's really no signs it's coming on except for checking the back of your legs for some light purple spots, which is an indication of some leakage of your blood. You might feel a little bit of lightness in your head. I felt that for about a year prior to my episode, but I didn't think nothing of it because I work a lot. I just thought I was just pushing myself too much, but it's an indication that my platelet counts were dropping. It was, it's a tough thing to deal with when you have an illness like that. So I watched my body, had regular checkups on my platelet counts. But 3 years after that episode, I started having some abdominal issues, and it got worse and worse. I ended up going to ER in San Francisco, UC Med Center, and they did a CT scan, and they saw something that alarmed them. And not only did they see the 2 hernias, they also saw diverticulosis, which was giving me the pain in my abdominal area, but they saw that my lower part of my aorta was inflamed, and that area was very rare. And they said, you may have a tear in your aorta. You got to be kidding me. So I was there for 12 hours. They did a second CT scan. And after the vascular surgeon came in the morning, the emergency surgeon, a couple other doctors decided I did not have a tear in my aorta. But it's something I have to monitor every year to see if that inflammation comes back. So it's been kind of crazy the last 6 years or so of dealing with these issues and other issues that come up, other autoimmune issues like Raynaud syndrome, where I've had episodes of swollen hands when it gets cold. My extremities, my toes would get cold. And this went on for, well, I'd say not so much the last couple of years, but probably at the time I had the aorta problem, I started noticing that starting to happen. And I've been in and out of doctor's care quite often prior to the last 2 years. Something that is not fun to deal with when you have several issues going on in your body. It wasn't until about, well, I'd say a little bit less than 2 years ago that my good friend Cora Mandapat, who knew what I've been dealing with for many years, said, Randy, I just found out about this company that's got these patches here. They may help you. And I really wasn't interested in patches. I didn't know what the patches were about, how they could help me. But she was insistent that I try these patches. What do you think you got to lose? You have to look at this information. You have to look at a video. But I'm stubborn. But finally, I said to myself, I can't live with this ongoing pain from time to time, having to go to the doctors quite often to monitor my body. So I was given some samples. I believe it was X39. It was Eon patches and an ice wave. I put them on one night, I think all at the same time, the X39 Aeon, used some ice wave for the discovery I had. And the next day I felt something different. I felt mental clarity. I felt that I had a little more energy because for so many years I've been dealing with low energy. I was dealing with issues of just serious fatigue. And the fatigue comes from the aortitis, according to what the doctors have said, that it will give you a lot of fatigue over time. It'll come and go. But using the patches, I felt that was a turning point, the way my body started to feel. So I started using the patches more and more, and I kept feeling better and better. And I decided, you know what? I want to become a member. So I ended up, I believe I started off with a silver kit. My memory is not as great as it used to be. And I started using the patches religiously. I noticed every week that I seemed to be feeling better. And ever since then, I became a believer in the technology. And I started to feel like this might be a business that I could develop because of what's done for me and the stories I've heard from Cora and some of her friends that have been using the patches.
Yep.
And probably, I'd say 14, 15 months ago, after using the patches for 3 or 4 months, that I started to push it as the business. And since I have a lot of experience in working special events, I said, you know what? I can start setting up booths at farmers markets or even some trade shows. So that's where the business part of it came in, to where I became a serious believer in the technology and the patches. And I remember the first show I set up, you can see the photograph right there at one of the booths I worked recently. That was a great way to meet people, patch people up, see their reactions here, get the information, send them videos, use the InTouch app a lot. And by patching people and seeing their reaction, whether it's a reduction of pain, it could be a migraine headache here, it just made me feel like this is something that's going to develop into a huge business over time. It's not going to happen overnight because I don't have a huge network of contacts that I could approach with this technology. My warm market is not really big. A lot of my close friends are multi-millionaires. They're not interested in building a business. They're not really willing to try the patches. So I decided, you know what, in order for me to build this business, I'm going to have to just market it through cold marketing, which is what I've been doing. So I've had some success in setting up booths, not only at the farmers market, but some other trade shows I've been working. And it's been a nice business for me that I've been able to supplement my income with people that I brought into the business that have helped me out at some of the booths. You see the picture here that Anna is in the background, and that's somebody I met about a month ago. And she tried the patches on, and she has some immediate pain relief. And she said, you know what, I can possibly do this business here. I've had some luck with the way I feel in the patches here, and I'm happy for her. And I didn't know her at all. I met her a month ago at the farmer's market. You never know who you're going to meet in this business here. It's not the easiest thing to do to set up and cold market this technology, but it's a way to meet people. You're able to patch a lot of people. If you have an attractive booth, which I believe the booths that we set up look very attractive, and it could be like a magnet for people to look at, come over, what's this all about? If they have any pain, you patch them up, you see the response. I've signed up many people from the different markets I worked. Follow-up is very important. People want more information, especially if they don't know you. These are strangers to me, the people I've enrolled at the farmers market and some of the shows. So that's been a big change in my life, not knowing anything about the technology less than 2 years ago to learning more about it. The more I learned from watching all the Zoominars, these Zoominars have been a big help. And I recommend anybody that's listening now that's in the business, continue to link into the Zoominars. It's very educational. You learn something all the time. Yeah, it's been a big help. And I will continue to do what I can to promote LifeWave any way I can. I'm very supportive of my sponsor, what she's done for me, and her sponsor, Marlonano. Coromandapat is my sponsor. She's been there for me all the time. We talk continuously. Without this kind of support, not just from my sponsor and her sponsor, but people like Tito, Rick, Edwina, Roy, you've been a huge help in educating me about the business. And also my brother, you know, with family members, they're very skeptical, as everybody knows. Friends, family members, what do you know about patches, Randy? No, they're not going to work. How can you put a stick on your body and you're telling me it's going to do this and that for me? Please. My little brother has been through a lot of challenges. He lives in Greenville. And Greenville is a town that I believe 75% of the town burnt down. And he went through a lot of trauma. And I decided, you know what? My brother needs some of our patches because of the stress levels, the anxiety levels. His best friend's house burnt down about a mile from him. So I sent him some sample patches. And it took about a few weeks for him to finally try the patches. And he felt immediate relief as far as the anxiety levels, which made me feel good. And he ordered a gold package. He ordered a lot of the Eon patches, Nirvana patches, ice weight patches with some pain he was dealing with. And also something came up with him about a month ago that's real scary. He was driving down about 5 weeks ago, and all of a sudden he had double vision. He had to drive the road with a hand covered over his eye. So he called me and told me his issue about a month ago. And I recommended an eye protocol that we have. And I talked to Roy about it on a call, I guess it was a few weeks ago. And he suggested rotate 1, 2, and 3, 4 of the eye protocol every day. And he should see some relief. Well, guess what? I got a call from my brother about, I think it was about a week ago. And his vision in his eyes is getting better. He has less blurred vision.
That's good.
And all because he became a believer, my own brother. And he will continuously use the patches, not only for his vision problems, but also detox his body because he was a painting contractor for 25 years. So he's done a couple of detoxes. In the last 5 weeks, he's been on the patches, or 6 weeks. So that's kind of nice to see. Getting back to building the business here, it's something that couldn't have come at the right time, Roy. Being in the newspaper industry for over a couple of decades and seeing that business go sideways, I was looking for something else out there. And with my health issues, it's the perfect marriage. LifeWave patches that take care of my health. I feel so much better since being on the patches, and the opportunity to build income, especially residual income, is incredible.
Yeah.
It really is. And here's a picture of our beautiful booth at the LA Fit Expo. Nothing's easy in life. You got to want it bad enough. And you got to get out there and work for it. People on the call here, all I can say is just patch as many people as you can. Send them the right information. Follow up in a professional manner. I always get permission to follow up with follow-up appointments, text reminders to remind them who's calling them. If it's a good time for me to call back is important. dress for success. Cold marketing is not easy to do, but you have no choice if you don't have a big warm market. There's many ways to meet people. I joined the Burlingame Chamber.
There you go.
Been to some of the chamber events. The chambers.
Yep.
So anybody that's looking to market this technology, and they don't have a market, the city has the Chamber of Commerce. My recommendation is to go to all those websites, look at their calendar of events to see how active they are. So if you're able to join a chamber event, you're going to be able to show up at their events. I brought Cora to a couple of the chamber events here, and it's all about meeting people and seeing if they're willing to look at the information here. And it's not complicated. You just got to get out there and mingle with people. There's people everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I'm doing right now, is just finding any type of event and getting out there and meeting people. I don't have a problem meeting strangers. I do it all the time. I have a lot of experience in it, and nothing phases me. If you want to you'll figure out a way to meet people and just do it.
That's right.
Sometimes I use this approach at markets. I ask people, you ever heard of LifeWave? And 99.99% of the people are going to say, what is that? So that helps open up the door to talk about LifeWave. And I just keep doing that where I'm at. So I'm feeling a lot better thanks to LifeWave patches. My life, my health, everything's, it's all because of a friend of mine that was persistent in trying to help me with my health issues. I don't know where I'd be if it wasn't for Cora pounding on my door, pounding on the phone, saying, Randy, try these patches. Try these patches. They help you. And
Good job, Cora.
Sure enough, it did.
Yeah, great job, Cora.
Even my doctor, who's my cousin, he's looked at my blood reports, last 3 of them I've had in the last year, and every report gets better and better. My blood pressure is very consistent, 120 over 70, in that range. My testosterone level is up. My vitamin D level has shot up. All the numbers look good. Even my cholesterol is coming down. Nothing else.
Right.
My diet hasn't changed. And the only thing I contribute it to is the patches. So I recommend keep on patching and share the patches.
Thank you, Brother Randy. That was amazing sharing.